welcome back to another English online session. Today we are going to look into the chapter Madam Rides the Bus, and it is written by Valli Kannan. This particular chapter is about a brave 8-year-old who had a strong desire and along with it a courage to fulfill it. She has the desire to ride a bus, just go for a trip, and she is only 8-year-old. Usually the parents accompany them, the children just go with their parents, but this particular child, she is going alone. What are the things happening, or for the trip, for the travel, what are the things she was doing, what are the preparations she was taking? All these things are explained in a very nice manner, very good narrative. This story is presented by Valli Kannan. Let's see a few hints about the writer first, then I will explain you the chapter. Valli Kannan is the pseudonym of R.S. Krishnaswamy. He was born on toll number 1920 and passed away on 9 November 2006. A Tamil writer, journalist, critic and translator from Tamil Nadu, India. He wrote a total of 75 books in his life, novels, novellas, poetry collections, plays, essays, anthologies. In 1978, he was awarded the Sahitya Akademi Award for Tamil for his critical work on modern Tamil poetry, Pudu Kavithayin Thotramum Valarchiyum. He was awarded Sahitya Akademi Award. So such an eminent writer and very simple narrative. It is a very nice story, easily anyone can understand, and a very good narrative in the point of view of an 8-year-old girl. Let's see. There was a girl named Valli Ammai who was called as Valli for short. She was 8-year-old and very curious about things. Her favorite pastime was standing in front of doorway of her house, watching what was happening in the street outside. There were no playmates of her own age on her street, and this was about all she had to do. So she was a very curious girl, Valli Ammai, and she was shortly called as Valli. Curious means eager to know or learn something. Every child, they just always wanted to know things, very curious. They have a lot of questions about things. The same way, Valli has a lot of questions. The problem is she has no companions of her age. So the things she used to do, she just stand in the front doorway and watching what's happening outside in the street. This is the pastime she had. But for Valli, standing at the front door was every bit as enjoyable as any of the elaborate games or other children played. Watching the street gave her many new unusual experiences. So watching the street, she get a lot of new unusual new experiences, like other children playing games and each and everything happening in the street. Those things are very new to her. She enjoyed. The most fascinating thing of all was the bus that traveled between her village and the nearest town. It passed through her street each hour, once going to the town and once coming back. The sight of the bus filled each time with a new set of passengers was a source of unending joy for her. So this bus just passed twice, going to the town and coming back. A set of new passengers every time it just bring. So this is something very unending, joyful and enjoyable thing. She always curiously watch this bus all the time. This is one of the entertainment for her. Day after day, she watched the bus, and gradually a tiny wish crept into her head and grew there. She wanted to ride on that bus, even if just once. This wish became stronger and stronger until it was an overwhelming desire. So, watching every day, watching this bus passing, a tiny bit of desire, a small desire developed in her mind, and that desire grown and grown and grown day by day. And what happens means, after some time it became a strong desire. She wanted to travel in that bus at least once. That was her wish. Only would stare wistfully at the people who got on or off the bus when it stopped at the street corner. Their faces would kindle in her longing dreams and hopes. So every time when people get down and get on the bus, she just curiously watch with a longingness. She wanted to travel like any other person traveling in that bus. So that kindle here set alight or here feelings just rising the feeling, increasing the feeling or desire for just riding or traveling in that bus. Wistfully means longingly. If one of her friends happened to ride the bus and tried to describe the sights of the town to her, Wally would be too jealous to listen and would shout in English, proud, proud. Neither she nor her friends really understood the meaning of the word, but they used it often as a slang expression of disapproval. So, if any one of her friends, if they got a chance to travel in the bus and they just narrate what are the things they had seen, she just say the word proud, proud. Actually, as a slang word, she was using it, showing her disapproval. They don't know the meaning, so she used to say that because she was jealous. She was not getting such a chance, so she was jealous about it, and she just always interrupt. She just shout the word proud, proud. Over many days and months, Wally listened carefully to conversations between her neighbors and people who regularly used the bus, and she also asked a few discreet questions here and there. So this is the first step. She started collecting details from the people regularly traveled in that bus and their conversation with her neighbors. So very carefully she listened, and each and every bit, useful bits, she just collect. And also in between she asked some discreet questions. Discreet questions here, careful questions. Actually she wanted to know each and everything about the travel. What is the procedure? What are the things she has to do? Everything she just collected from others. This is the first step of fulfilling of her desire. This way she picked up various small details about the bus journey. The town was 6 miles from her village. The fare was 30 paise one way, which is almost nothing at all. She heard one well dressed man say, but Wally, who scarcely saw that much money from one month to the next, it seemed a fortune. So she just started collecting the details. And the town was 6 miles from the village. So the distance she just came to know. And the cost, the fare, how much she has to pay for it, and it is 30 paise. A well dressed a man, a gentleman, said it is nothing, it is not a big amount, but for her it is a big amount. It is like a fortune for her. She took a long time to collect such an amount. The trip to the town took 45 minutes. On reaching town, if she stayed in her seat and paid another 30 paise, she could return home on the same bus. So the next thing, after reaching the town, again if she pays, she didn't want to go out and get into trouble. She just stayed the same bus, and she just pay 30 paise again. So the bus come back, and she can get down in her village. This meant that she could take the 1 o'clock afternoon bus, reach the town at 1:45, and be back home by about 2:45. On and on went her thoughts as she calculated and recalculated, planned and replanned. So all these things she planned in a very careful, meticulously she had planned it. The time when she reached the town, and the waiting time, and when she come back to the uh, village again. So if she go to the afternoon bus, it is better, and she can reach by 2:45 she can reach back to her village. So every possibility she was calculating, she was changing, and again she was trying to collect more details, calculating, and again she was changing, and new plans, adding new plans. Like it is a very well planned process for her to go for a journey. Well, one fine spring day, the afternoon bus was just on the point of leaving the village and turning into the main highway when a small voice was heard shouting, "Stop the bus, stop the bus," and a tiny hand was raised commandingly to stop the bus. So the day arrived, one fine day in the afternoon when the bus about to just move to the highway. A girl, a small voice, she started shouting, "Stop the bus, stop the bus." She was showing her young hand commandingly and saying, "Stop the bus." The bus slowed down to a crawl, and the conductor, sticking his head out the door, said, "Hurry then, tell whoever it is to come quickly, it's me," shouted Wally. So he just put his head through the window and asked whoever just shouted to stop the bus, just get in quick. And he is in a hurry, like he just shouted. So there is a voice came, "It's me, Wally. I am the one who has to get on." By now the bus had come to a stop, and the conductor said, "Oh really? You don't say so." "Yes, I simply have to go to town," said Wally, still standing outside the bus, "and here is my money." So, like a matured person, like a very young or matured man or woman, like she was speaking, "I'm the one, I wanted to go to town, and here is the money." She was showing the money to the conductor. She showed him some coins. "Okay, okay, but first you must get on the bus," said the conductor, and he stretched out a hand to help her up. "Never mind," she said, "I can get on by myself. You don't have to help me." The conductor was a jolly sort of fond of joking. "Oh, please don't be angry with me, my fine madam," he said. "Here, have a seat right up there in front of everybody. Move aside, please. Make a way for madam." So this conductor is a jolly guy who would like to make fun of or create a funny situation. So when he offered his hand to get on the bus, she refused it. "I can just get on the bus myself." So he was just after that he was just trying to treat her as a very young lady. Even he was calling her madam, and he was asking other just give her seat, make a way, and he was just asking her to get into the bus. It was the slack time of day, and there were only 6 or 7 passengers on the bus. They were all looking at Wally and laughing with the conductor. Wally was overcome with the shyness. Avoiding everyone's eyes, she walked quickly to an empty seat and sat down. Slack time means a time where there is not much work. Because of the time, the slack time, very less number of passengers are there. When they heard the way the conductor just making way for Wally and calling her madam, they started laughing. That made her feeling shy. She was not trying to get eye contact with the other passengers. She found an empty seat and immediately she sat there. May we start now, madam? The conductor asked, smiling. Then he blew his whistle twice, and the bus moved forward with a roar. It was a new bus, its outside painted a gleaming white with some green stripes along the sides. So, in a mocking way, the conductor was asking, "Shall we start? Shall we move, madam?" to this little girl. And he whistled, and the bus started immediately. And it seems it was a new bus, and the outside paint it was shining, and it is green, white with the green stripes, the color of the bus. Inside, the overhead bars shone like silver. Directly in front of Wally, above the windshield, there was a beautiful clock. So nearby the windshield, above that, there is a clock attached, and the iron bars. You can just catch hold of it while traveling if you are standing. That was pure silver color, and all these things shows that this bus is a new one. The seats were soft and luxurious. Wally devoured everything with her eyes. So very devoured here, read quickly and eagerly. Here looking outside very eagerly the all the sceneries, because she was watching everything for the first time. But when she started to look outside, she found her view cut off by a canvas blind that covered the lower part of her window. So she stood up on the seat and peered over the blind. Blind here, a partition. So she could not see the outside sceneries properly. So she stand up and just peered here, peeped, looking through a hole or gap here, gap between that she started. She was standing on the seat and looking outside. The bus was now going along the bank of a canal. The road was very narrow. On one side there was the canal, and beyond it palm trees, grassland, distant mountains, and the blue sky. On the other side was a deep ditch, and then acres and acres of green fields. So the sceneries she was watching, on the one side there was canal and water is flowing there, and beyond that she can see a lot of palm trees, grassland, and in distance she can see a mountain, and behind that blue sky she can see blue sky. On the other side she can see acres and acres of green fields, pastures, green, green, green as far as the eye could see. Oh, it was all so wonderful. Suddenly she was startled by a voice. "Listen, child," said the voice, "you shouldn't stand like that. Sit down." When she was devouring, enjoying the greenery outside, and she was excitedly saying, "Green, green, green," a voice just stopped her, asked her to sit down. And that voice really shows a concern about this child. If she stand there, there is a chance of falling. So an elderly man, a grandpa, he was just asking Wally to sit down, and she was sitting down. By the time she was looking at the person who had spoken, and she identified that it was an old man, and he called her a child. So she was saying, "There is no child here. I had paid, I had the pay, I have paid the money like everyone else. I'm not a child." So already the conductor started treating her like a young lady or grown up lady. So suddenly he was interfering in that conversation. So he just said to the old man, "Oh, sir, but this is a very grown up madam. Do you think a mere girl could pay her own fare and travel to the city all alone?" Well, he shot an angry glance at the conductor and said, "I am not a madam. Please remember that." And so he was just in a very mocking way, like joking her. He was saying that, can you imagine that If she is not a grown up woman, how can she pay the amount and travel to the town? She is a madam, she is a grown up lady. By the time Wali was giving a reply, don't call me like a madam, I am not a madam, in an angry glance. She was looking at this conductor angrily. And you have got yet given me my ticket. I will remember, the conductor said, mimicking her tone. Everyone laughed, and gradually Wally too joined in the laughter. So she was saying that I have paid, but you didn't give me the ticket. Remember that. So he was just replying that the conductor, in a mimicking or just imitating the voice of the girl, and said, I will remember. Then everyone in the bus started laughing. After some time, Valli also started laughing. The conductor punched a ticket and handed it to her. Just sit back and make yourself comfortable. Why should you stand when you have paid for a seat? Because I want to, she answered, standing up again. So, in a concerned voice, he said, you have paid for a ticket. He punched the ticket and given it. And he said, why you are standing? You have paid the money. Just travel comfortably. Sit back and enjoy the travel. Why you are standing when you paid the money? So she said, I wanted to stand, that's why I am standing. So just giving sudden replies without minding whom she was speaking to, like she had given that reply. But if you stand on the seat, you may fall and hurt yourself when the bus makes a sharp turn or hits a bump. That's why we want you to sit down, child. I'm not a child, I tell you, she said irritably. I'm 8 years old. So again, kind of advice, they said, if you stand like this, you may fall. If the bus just suddenly apply brake, or if just hit on a bump, you may fall. That's why we are saying just sit down, child. So she was saying, I'm not a child, I have already told you, I am 8 years old. Likewise she replied, of course, how stupid of me. 8 years, my. The bus stopped, some new passengers got on, and the conductor got busy for a time. Afraid of losing her seat, Wally finally sat down. So the conductor was expressing like he forget about she was a grown-up woman, like he was recollecting that, and he just left the place. After the next stop, in the next stop, some people just joined. They just got on the bus. So now she understood that if she stand like that, she just lose her seat. So finally she settled down on her seat. An elderly woman came and sat beside her. Are you all alone, dear? She asked Wally as the bus started again. So an elderly woman just came and sat nearby Wally. And looking at this girl alone, the elderly woman asked, are you all alone, child, dear? Likewise, she asked. Wally found the woman absolutely repulsive. Such big holes she had in her ear lobes, and such ugly earrings in them. And she could smell the betel nut the woman was chewing and see the betel juice that was threatening to spill over her lips and at any moment. Now she was looking at the appearance of the elderly woman, and she didn't like the ear lobes and earrings she was wearing. And the elderly woman, she was chewing on the betel, and the juice just it's like spilling out, threatening like at any time it just spill out of her mouth, like that create a repulsiveness, that dislike in her mind. Who could be sociable with such a person? Yes, I am traveling alone, she answered curtly. And I have got a ticket too. Yes, she is on her way to town, said the conductor, with a 30 paise ticket. So she want to cut the conversation with one or two reply. She said, yeah, I am traveling alone and I am going to town. And when the conductor, he was nearby that, he just said the same. She had a 30 paise ticket too. She was going to the town. Oh, why don't you mind your own business? Said Valli. But she laughed all the same, and the conductor laughed too. So she was just asking the conductor, why don't you just do your business, mind your own business? And she is smiling in a friendly way, the conductor also laughing. But the old woman went on with her drivel. Is it proper for such a young person to travel alone? Do you know exactly where you are going in town? What's the street? What's the house number? You needn't bother about me. I can take care of myself, Wally said, turning her face towards the window and staring out. So, as a concerned elderly person, she was asking, is it right to travel alone? Like, where is your parents? Such a question she was asking. And do you know where are you going? And what's the house number? By the time Mali was replying, no, you don't need to care about me. You just mind your own business. Like she was replying, and she was not looking at this elderly lady. She was looking outside. So now Wali's travel was getting thrilled, and she was behaving like a elder and a self-reliant person. I'm stopping the narration here. The balance part of the story I will explain in the next class. Read the text thoroughly. See you with the balance part of the story. Till then, take care. Bye.